All right, here we go. The Arends Translation Nutrition, ATA, articles from German newspapers, translated by William Arends, InterStream 129-130, Part 2. Translator's note. Here are articles taken from the September 6, 1917 issue of the Berlin Morning Post. There are 3 war reports, one from the action around Riga, another from the Italian front, and a third about an air attack over England. A 4th report mentions Lenin in Russia, and the 5th about the Ribot government in France. Berlin Morning Post, Thursday, September 6, 1917. Our actions in the Bay of Riga. The commander-in-chief of the Baltic Fleet and the U-boats and the warships under his command energetically participated in the seizure of Riga and the mouth of the Dvina River by having the Courland flotilla cut through the Russian defenses, including naval mine barrages, nets, and other obstacles in the Gulf of Riga, with the procurement and the support of the equally energetic Minesweeper Division operating in the mouth of the Dvina up to the Pernigal Road, where the Russian troops were in flight. At the same time, the presence of our naval assets in the Gulf of Riga prevented the Russian warships there from firing on our troops from the sea. Elsewhere, the aircraft squadrons from our seaplane stations at Windau and Angersee in separate actions successfully attacked the Russian rear lines of communication, and then to the east, prominent streets and railroad lines, as well as other streets that the Russians were using for their retreat, were all hit by bombs numerous times. A Russian steamer that had set out from the mouth of the Dvina was also struck by bombs from our aircraft, and after that stood still in the harbor, lying on its side in glowing flames of fire. A violent battle on the mount of San Gabriele, a telegraph report, September 5th, a dispatch from the War Press Office. A bloody and fierce battle raged yesterday as never before. The Italians made a massive attack with fresh troops operating at full strength. They pushed forward up to the highest summit of Mount San Gabriele, where our troops, the courageous unto death infantry, threw them back to the west in a counter-assault. Until yesterday evening, this battle raged on around the mountaintop. Despite their losses, the Italians continued the fight. During yesterday night, things were calmer, but from 5 o'clock in the morning on, the combat again became more intense. The lines on our left, both to the north and the south of Mount San Gabriele, yesterday and today came under heavy artillery fire. Also, we relentlessly threw back the enemy assaults. Areas far to the rear of the battlefield of Mount San Gabriele came under the heaviest artillery fire. East of Gortz also saw fighting yesterday. We easily turned back attacks on St. Katarina and Grozynski. Oh my God. While in the same way, our brave and heroic defenders smashed up the enemy units attacking Mount Fatjibrib and the town of something or other. The successful air attack on England, a telegraph report, London, September 4th. An official British report. 6 of our aircraft took part of the attack of the previous night. They'd gone as far as Chatham and threw bombs on Thanet Island and in the areas from Sheerness to Chatham. From our side, no military personnel were wounded. We did lose one of our civilian personnel, killed, while 6 were wounded. Our aircraft received insignificant damages and were all able to fly back to their bases. This is because the English air defenses fired at them without results. The parliamentary secretary to the Admiralty let it be known that during the attack, 107 of their naval crewmen had been killed and another 86 had been wounded. A further dispatch out of London from Reuters told how a noise in the night woke the inhabitants of Chatham, Rochester, Gillingham, and the surrounding area. People took notice of the enemy aircraft that had crossed over the districts there. In the district of Chatham, 12 to 15 bombs were dropped. Within the city, the damage to private property was slight. Unfortunately, 4 people were killed by the bombs that hit a part of the Navy barracks. However, the shipyard there was completely undamaged. Lenin is in Russia. A telegram from our correspondent, Zurich, September 5th. The Ukrainian Bureau reported out of Petersburg that Lenin, who had formerly been in Switzerland, according to the editors, has now turned up in Russia. As he himself stated in the pages of the newspaper Pravda, The Truth, in an acknowledgement to the public, writing under the pseudonym Ilson. Doroshenko has been placed at the top of the new Ukrainian ministry. He was recently the Governor General of Russia in Galicia. The crisis of the rebuild ministry in France. A telegram from our correspondent, Geneva, September 5th. Rebuild has set his negotiations about the reshuffling of his government forward with great difficulty. As has been written in the newspaper Matin, when his cabinet would meet in a session of the Council of Ministers on Friday, they would be called upon to make a collective general resignation. 5 or 6 ministers were expected to be dismissed, and a few undersecretaries were to be promoted. On Thursday morning, Ribot held a memorial service for the occasion on the remembrance of the Battle of the Marne by making a political address. And that was the end of that one. Hold on, let me get to the front of the bit there. And away we go. Hope that went well. Thank you.